Nimbus are extremely well known for their sensible cruising boats, but for a while now they've also been doing an outboard powered range, starting with the 9 metre and then the 8 metre and then the 11 metre. Now, we've seen the T11 before, the tender version, the walk-around one. This is the brand new W11 version, and that makes it a much more practical, usable boat with more versatility than the full walk-around tender version. And that starts at the back here with this full hydraulic wrap-around bathing platform, which can be set at this level. This is the kind of standard setting. It'll also rise up to the quay or drop down into the sea if you want a kind of sea level platform to swim off. Now, prices for this start at roughly around about 600,000 euros ex VAT. You can see this is powered by twin 400 horsepower V10 Mercury outboards. You can also get D4 diesel versions that sit inside this hatch here. So when we come forward, we've got twin lockers on either side. You can see we've got the shore power going into this one. We've got really good storage inside this one, just for fenders and lines and hoses and so on. And we might just see if we can have a quick look under here. There is a really huge storage area, which is where the engines would go if you go for the inboard version. But you can see on this one, they fitted a quick gyro stabilizer, so really compact unit that will actually keep it stable at anchor and underway. And it's huge storage area, but that is where the two D4 engines would go. So if I just close this up again. Now at the moment we've got it set up in sort of rear facing seat mode, but in a minute I can show you how flexible this whole area is too. Now, one of the advantages of this layout is that it's actually asymmetric. So if we look down this side deck, you can see there's a really good walkway along there. But if I go over to this side, we've got a much smaller raised side deck. So the whole of this semi-enclosed wheelhouse area is offset to port. And that's to try and give you the benefits of easy access down one side, but more seating space within the cockpit itself. And it's a really nice protected space. So you see there's a little drop down there with a gate. So once you shut this, if you lift this up and swing it round, this whole area is enclosed, so it's really safe for children and so on. So that's quite a nice feature. Now here is the main cockpit seating area. You can see it's built around the table, very nicely designed teak table. You can see that swings out, and as with everything Nimbus, it's really heavy duty. Look at the size and quality of those hinges there. We've also got built-in little, it's not quite a cup holder, it's not deep enough, but it acts as a kind of grab rail as you move around, and you can see this surface area here is all fiddled so that things don't slide off it. Now, this can also be flipped over this way, and indeed it can even spin round. I'm not sure if that little lever there means that whole thing can spin around that way. Now, the reason for that is because this area also converts into a sunbed. And there's a little tag here. If I pull this, don't know if I'm going to be able to do this one-handed, just about can. You can see this seat comes down, and you can see that there you've got a full-length sunbed in that position there. That's the way the table is. The reason it also spins around, once you've actually folded it, you can then spin it round that way if you want to keep this area a little bit more open. So if you want, you can have somebody sunbathing here, you can have people seated in the corner, you've got a bit more floor space around here, because this is where the galley is. And again, it's a much bigger galley than the wet bar on the T11. So you can see there's a proper 2-ring burner here. We've got lots of little drawers in here, all fiddled with all the appropriate kit that you need. Not overly fussy, just nicely done. 1.5 sink unit. Oh, that's hot in the sun. Bin under there. And on this version, we've got 2 fridges. So we've got one under here. Pull that open. and then there is another one there, and you also have the option of fitting one down below if you want to. So up to 3 fridges, but can't really have too much cooling space. But what I do like about it is the way that you've got this lovely socializing area that's nice and safe. We've got good deep bulwarks, we've got a gate on the end, we've got the option of sunbathing or sitting. You can swivel the table any way you want it, and it's all protected by this lovely big hardtop. Now this is another really clever idea. You can see that at the moment it's open around here, but you'll also notice there are little panels, and that is because this whole panel drops down. I can't really do that one-handed, but if I show you, you can see there's another opening there. That lowers, and all the canvases live up there, and you can then enclose this whole area with see-through canvases and effectively have a semi-enclosed boat. But I love the fact that it's all stored up there, so you don't have to have all these covers and tucked away under seats and so on. It's all fully accessible, one neat system. Now there is lots of additional storage, and you can see really big storage area under there too. Get loads of kit in there. You can probably even not quite get a wakeboard in there, I don't think, but plenty of storage capacity. Whopping great speaker under there. That's actually going to be thumping out the bass notes there. We've seen the galley, and this also lifts up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this with the table in position. No, I think that's going to be too heavy for me, but you can see there is also access under that floor panel there. Now moving forward, we've got the helm station here. You can see this all zips in with fill-in panels too if you want to. And the other nice thing about this overhead hardtop is it's got a full canvas sliding roof. It's just a little switch down here. If I pull that back, you can see that whole area opens up, and you can let masses of light in there. You can see there's also a roof rack on here, because a lot of people tend to use these boats with paddle boards or so on top, and that just means you can still use that for storage but have the opening panel. I'm just going to close that up because it's so hot and sunny in here. I don't think anybody's going to thank me if I leave the whole thing baking in the sun. Helm station, very Nimbus, very practical, really good and clear. We've got the Mercury throttles down here. We've got joystick control. These Mercury outboards are actually linked fully electronically steered, so you can move it right and left, twist it round, all using that joystick. We've also got a remote control for the anchor windlass, zip wake trim tabs, so everything can be automated, or you can have as much manual control of it as you want, and then twin Simrad screens and a really good view all the way around through those screens. Now this is a nice little area too. You can see it's a kind of U-shaped seating area. There is a little drop-down footrest if you want a bit of extra support, because it's quite high, so you get a slightly elevated view. But also this backrest here drops back. There's a little locking mechanism. I'm not sure if I can do that one-handed. Oh, there we go. You can see that also tilts back, and then you've got a rather lovely little chaise longue area, which I shall do my best to show off. There we go. I think you can see that's a pretty relaxed position. You can just chill out there. You are beneath the level of the windscreen, so all the apparent breeze will be going over the top of you, and you get a very relaxed ride. Now the other thing about this W11 is they've actually raised the deck height, and we'll go and have a little look on the deck in a minute. But first, let's have a look down below, because by raising that deck height, they've created a lot more volume inside the hull. Now you can see the steps are offset, so it means you can have a slightly steeper, narrower step down so as not to lose too much space from the actual staircase. We've got all the electronics panels and tank gauges and so on in there, as well as the control for that gyro stabilizer we saw earlier. Very neatly done. Bit of storage space in here. That's where the extra fridge would go. We've also got a kind of mini bureau. You could probably put various galley kit items in here if you wanted to. If you wanted them inside rather than outside, you can see there's lots of good storage space. And then it's all open plan, but there is quite a good bed forward in the V of the hull. And another thing I like about this is all these windows just make sure there's lots of natural light coming in here. So even though it's not the largest cabin in the world, it does feel very nice and open and light. And that's interesting, it's just a little extra support there to give a bit more support to the deck overhead. Again, hatches above the bed there, little mirror, lots of fiddle shelves, a little bit of support so you can put phones and loose items there, and then storage locker there for life jackets and so on. And this, you'll see there is a curtain, so you can draw that across and give yourself a little bit more privacy once you're in bed. Now, day head is in here again with impressively good headroom now that they've raised that deck height. Sink over on this side, bit of storage underneath. And then this is rather clever. There is a small but very definitely separate shower and loo area. So you can see there's a sliding perspex screen with a teak grill underneath where the water drains away. And it just means that rather than having a totally wet room where you get wet feet even when you're just going in to use the basin, you can keep that shower area slightly separate. The loo is under that little seat there. And again, there is just enough headroom for me. I'm 6'1" and it's pretty much exactly my height. So it does mean there is full standing headroom in the bathroom area. Now moving further back, that's a little bit of a tight squeeze with that door. You can probably see it just about passes my thigh, but just means you have to move a little bit carefully around the boat. There is also a door in here to the guest cabin. Mirror on the door, useful trick. It helps bounce light around and makes it feel a bit brighter and bigger than it might otherwise. Standing headroom at the foot of the bed. Couple of hull windows giving a bit of natural light. And then the bed itself, you can see that does tuck right under the cockpit, and there's not a lot of clearance there. That's probably only a couple of feet above that level. But what I do like about it is that with your head up this end, at least it does feel like your head at least is not tucked right under there. It's not a complete coffin berth. You have got a little bit of headroom above the bed. And actually, on this point here at the foot of the bed, again, there is standing headroom here. So you could, if you wanted to, just the two of you on board, you could sleep in here and then keep the whole of the rest of it open plan. I like the fact there is a little seat here too. Just means that when you're getting dressed in the morning, you can sit down, put your socks and shoes on without feeling like you're either stood up or posted in this little narrow bed in here. So there we go. Now I'd said I was going to show you the foredeck, so let's go and have a quick look at that. These are these steps again. You have to make sure you start with the right foot so that you follow the natural path. Again, there's another fold down footrest there as well as that there. They're really hot on ergonomics, and you'll just find that you can always find a comfortable seating space. You can see that the chair slides forwards and backwards so you can get exactly the right reach. You've got a bolster panel, you've got lift up armrests to give support, got a handy little storage space for sort of sunglasses and phones. We've even got a remote control. I think that's probably for the anchor, I can't quite see. Got the VHF down there, that's the sunroof controls. Just really sound, solid ergonomics. Now this is the starboard side deck that we showed you earlier. Very nice, that's a kind of knee height gunnels here, so you've got nicely protected walkway, and it's a good width too. You probably see my feet there. There's no having to shuffle along there, it's easy to walk along. Very cleverly they've put the fuel fillers and water fillers under this grill, so if you do spill a little bit of diesel or water, it does mean that it doesn't go onto the deck, it stays within this area, and then it's nice and easy to clean up. And then this rather lovely foredeck area with two sun pads here. You can see that those prop up. It's just a little manual system, but you can set the height and the angle you want it at. And then very smart little carbon fibre poles, providing a bit of shade. If it's just too hot to lay out in the full sun, you can rig up this canopy, and then you've got a nicely shaded area right up here. And even here, there's some interesting stuff going on. Now they've always gone for this slightly blunt bow area. That is of course just above the deck level. You can probably see here that it sort of flares out above. You've got a nice sharp entry point at the water level, and then it flares out above it, partly to keep spray and water away, but also to give you this wide working space here on the foredeck. Now in Scandinavia, they're often like to more bow on to an island. So you put out a stern anchor and then you just nudge up here, and so you've got this lovely walkway through. You can just step off onto the rock or the beach. It also means, and in fact you can see there is a little mounting point for a ladder there, so you can have a ladder off the bow. And you've got a nice big flat working area for anchoring. There you can see the ultra anchor is a through hull anchor, so it'll just drop straight down through there. Very smart stainless steel chain, that's proper posh, that is. And then the electric windlass under there. And again, little details like this just means you can store your ropes or your fenders and loop them up over here so that you don't have to fish around in the bottom to find the ropes themselves. And then a good big storage area right forward here for fenders, covers, etc. Now that is the port side deck, and that is narrow. You can make your way along there. I'm not going to do it now because it would be frankly embarrassing if I fell in, but you can see there are grab rails along there if you want to work your way along there, but particularly with these poles in place, it just pushes you out a little bit. So I'm going to make my way back in this direction, noting that there are rails all the way along here, partly for grab rails, partly for hanging your fenders. It's a nice chunky mid-cleat there, and then back into the cockpit. So that is the new Nimbus W11. Always like to see how they do their boats. They're so well thought out, so well designed for practicality as well as versatility and style. And I think this absolutely nails it in terms of what you need from a boat in a nice, usable, simple, fast design. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please do let me know what you think of it in the comments below. I can't wait to see them, and thank you very much for watching.